Nobody told me this about marriage. And even if they did, I wouldn't have believed them. Not in the beginning. Nobody told me that one day the fireworks would end. Not like forever, but long enough for me to look across the room and wonder, is this it? I used to compare my marriage to other people's marriages. From over here, they looked happier. They looked more connected. They're laughing in their photos, holding hands by candlelight in restaurants and finishing each other's sentences. Meanwhile, we're over here arguing because he brought groceries without checking the fridge first again. Or because the garbage is still sitting out back and the garbage truck is down the block. Or because he is oblivious to how money comes and goes, he just makes the money. Nobody posts those moments. Nobody posts the ordinary Tuesdays. Nobody posts the silence, the long, overbearing silence. Nobody posts the years when love feels less like a rom-com and more like a to-do list. And for years, I was embarrassed by that. Embarrassed that my marriage felt ordinary. Embarrassed that love sometimes feels less like a choice instead of a feeling. And then one day I realized, especially because we're one of the few who are still married after 30 years, I realized that's not a failed marriage. That's marriage. That's the beginning, the middle, the long middle, the part nobody writes sonnets about. The part where our attraction isn't always automatic. The part where the person you married somehow manages to trigger wounds that you thought were healed. Wounds they were supposed to help you heal. Imagine my surprise. Because nobody tells you that either. Because they don't know. They tell you love heals. Sometimes love exposes. Sometimes love points directly at the place that still hurts and says, there, that. Let's talk about that again and again and again. People think that the opposite of love is hate. I don't. I think that the opposite of love is fantasy. The fantasy that you will always feel connected, always feel desire, always feel certain. Reality is messier. Reality says there will be moments when you kiss each other and feel absolutely nothing. Don't panic. Stay with me because nobody talks about it. They just file the papers and leave or have an affair or start looking for another person to generate the feeling that they think they've been missing. But feelings are weather. They arrive, they leave. Then one day he'll walk through the door and catch the light just right. Or you'll catch a glimpse of that strong and virile man he was at 35. Or maybe the gray in his beard suddenly looks distinguished and your heart flutters and it surprises you again. There you go. The butterflies didn't die. They just migrated. Less chemistry, more recognition, more devotion. Less performance, more presence. And here's the hardest truth I've learned, and the most profound, actually. My husband is not just my lover. He's my mirror, my teacher, my comfort, my challenge, my irritation, my witness, my slayer. Because nobody exposes your unfinished work like the person who knows where all the bodies are buried. And if you stay together long enough, another realization arrives. The person aging beside you is reminding you that you are aging too. So be careful. If you are merciless with yourself, you will be merciless with them. If every wrinkle terrifies you, their wrinkles will. They'll terrify you too. And if you cannot make peace with your changing body, you will struggle to make peace with theirs. So, almost 30 years together, and some days being alone still sounds amazing. Honestly, sometimes a plane ticket sounds romantic too, so I leave. I go to France, I walk, I write, I breathe. I remember who I am, and then I remember who we are. Not because I have to, because I want to. Because somewhere along the way, he stopped being only my lover. He became family. At this point, he has spent more hours with me than almost anyone else on earth. More ordinary Tuesdays, more holidays, more disappointments, more victories, more life. And maybe that's what real love becomes. Not a permanent spark, not some endless excitement, not certainty. 1,000 daily decisions, 1,000 tiny recommitments, 1,000 opportunities to leave, and 1,000 reasons to stay. Not because it's easy, because it's worth it.